The promise of the storm, the rain fell like daggers from the sky when she emerged from the darkness of the deserted road, dressed only in a thin, torn coat. Elena ran desperately, her bare feet bleeding over the sharp stones. Behind her, the sound of horse hooves echoed closer and closer. Her heart was beating so hard it felt like it was about to explode. She knew that if she stopped, she would be lost forever. Suddenly, a lightning bolt cut through the sky, illuminating the figure of a tall man mounted on a brown horse. He blocked the path. Elena stopped abruptly, breathless, her wet hair stuck to her pale face. "Who goes there?" thundered the deep, grave voice of the stranger. Elena raised her frightened eyes. Before she could answer, she heard her pursuers approaching. Without thinking, she threw herself at the feet of the horse. "For pity's sake, sir, save me. They want to kill me." The man dismounted in one swift movement. The moment the pursuers appeared around the bend in the road, he pulled Elena behind him and drew a gleaming sword. "Whoever you are, you shall not take another step," he shouted with authority. The men hesitated upon seeing the blade in the imposing figure. After a few seconds of deadly tension, they turned their horses and disappeared into the storm. The stranger turned to Elena, who was trembling violently. His intense green eyes watched her with piercing intensity. "My name is Victor, and you, miss, carry dangerous secrets." On that night, marked by the fury of nature, Elena's destiny became irrevocably intertwined with Victor's. Victor wrapped Elena in his heavy cloak and placed her on the black horse. The journey to the castle was silent, broken only by the roar of the wind and the incessant sound of the rain. Elena trembled, not only from the cold, but from pure terror. Every shadow in the forest seemed to hide new dangers. When they finally saw the castle rising on top of the mountain, Elena was impressed. The tall, ancient towers seemed to touch the dark sky, like a sleeping giant protecting its secrets. The walls were thick and covered with ivy, giving the place a mysterious and imposing air upon entering. The warmth of the large fireplace in the main hall embraced Elena's frozen body like a welcome hug. Silent servants brought warm blankets, herbal tea, and dry clothes. Victor watched everything with a serious expression, but his eyes revealed genuine concern. In the following days, Elena regained her physical strength, but her soul remained restless. She spent long hours looking out the window of the room she had been given, watching the mountains covered in mist. Victor respected her silence. He asked no direct questions, although it was clear he wished to understand the enigmatic young woman. One night, when the wind howled outside, Victor found her sitting by the large stone fireplace. The flames danced across her delicate face, highlighting her fine features and her brown eyes full of shadows. "You hardly speak since you arrived," he said in a low and calm voice, sitting in the armchair beside her. "I know you carry a burden too heavy for someone so young, but know that here, within these ancient walls, you are safe." Elena squeezed her hands in her lap, hesitant. For the first time, she allowed a few words to escape. "My name is Elena. My father was a just and respected man. Upon his death, he left me a significant inheritance. However, my uncle, Duke Armand, has always coveted everything that did not belong to him. He forged documents and now accuses me of theft and betrayal. The men on the road worked for him. They want to silence me before I can prove his corruption." Victor listened attentively, without interrupting. His face remained impassive, but a spark of fury appeared in his dark eyes. "So you are fleeing not only from armed men, but from a cruel injustice," he concluded. "I have seen many like your uncle, men who destroyed lives out of greed, but here you will not face this alone." He extended his large, strong hand, lightly touching Elena's delicate fingers. The contact was brief, but enough to send an unexpected warmth through her body. For a moment, fear gave way to something softer, more dangerous, an attraction she did not expect to feel. Victor slowly withdrew his hand, as if he had also felt the same spark. "Rest, Elena. Tomorrow we will talk more calmly. While you are under my roof, no one will dare touch you." Elena nodded, her heart beating wildly. For the first time in many days, she managed to sleep without sudden awakenings, protected by the thick walls of the castle and Victor's silent presence. The weeks in the castle passed like pages of an ancient book. The peaceful routine contrasted with the storm that still raged in Elena's heart. Victor proved to be a generous and discreet host. In the mornings, they walked through the inner gardens when the weather allowed, talking about books, music, and the stars. Elena gradually discovered Victor's soul. He was a man of few words, but of meaningful gestures. He had lost his family when young and lived almost isolated in the castle, carrying a silent sadness in his eyes. Even so, near her, he smiled more often, a rare and sincere smile that illuminated his serious face. One rainy afternoon, Elena sat at the old grand piano in the music room. Her fingers glided over the keys, playing a soft and melancholic melody she had learned from her mother. Victor entered silently and stopped behind her. "You play with your heart?" he murmured, his deep voice echoing through the hall. Without asking permission, he placed his large hands over hers, guiding her movements with surprising delicacy. Elena's body reacted immediately to the closeness. His scent, a mixture of wood and rain, enveloped her senses. When the music ended, neither of them moved. Victor leaned down slowly. Their lips met in a kiss that began hesitantly, then became deep and filled with emotion. Elena felt the world disappear. It was as if all the fear and loneliness of the past months had transformed into fire. When they pulled apart, Victor rested his forehead against hers, breathing with difficulty. "I swore to myself that I would never again allow anyone to enter my heart," he confessed in a low voice. "But you, Elena, arrived like a storm and tore down all my walls. I fell in love with your courage, with your silent strength." Elena felt tears in her eyes. "I am afraid, Victor, afraid that my past will destroy everything good that is being born between us." He held her face with both hands. "Then we will face this fear together. My heart now belongs to you." The romance grew intense, passionate, and true, but the shadows of Elena's uncle still loomed like dark clouds on the horizon. The tranquility of the castle was brutally interrupted when an exhausted messenger arrived with alarming news. Duke Armand had spread poisonous rumors throughout the kingdom. Elena was a thief, a traitor who had stolen from her own family. He offered a generous reward for her capture, dead or alive. Elena read the letter with trembling hands, her face as pale as wax. "He will not stop until he completely destroys me," she whispered, her voice choked. "My reputation, my freedom, my life. He wants to take everything." Victor read the document with a somber expression. His jaw was rigid with contained anger. "Men like your uncle are venomous snakes, but snakes can be crushed." He pulled Elena into his strong arms, embracing her with fierce protection. He kissed the top of her head, while she cried softly against his chest. "Do not cry, my dear. I will not allow him to take away your dignity. We will fight back. I will use my old contacts at court to gather concrete proof of his embezzlement. You, with your intelligence, can help me organize the letters and documents you managed to save." In the following days, the castle transformed into a silent center of strategy. Elena and Victor spent hours in the library, analyzing old papers, writing coded letters, and planning the next move. However, danger was approaching. On a dark night, armed intruders tried to invade the castle through the side walls. Victor woke to the noise and ran to defend his home. The fight was fierce. He repelled the attackers with bravery, but was wounded in his left shoulder by a sharp blade. Elena ran to him as soon as the danger had passed. With tears streaming down her face, she tore clean cloths and tended to the wound with trembling hands. "All of this is my fault," she sobbed. "I brought danger to your door." Victor, even in pain, gently held her chin and lifted her face. "Look at me, Elena. You did not bring danger. You brought life to this empty castle. You brought light to my darkness. Every drop of blood I shed was worth it if it serves to protect you." She rested her forehead on his chest, listening to the strong beats of his heart. I love you, Victor, more than I ever imagined it was possible to love someone. He smiled faintly, despite the pain. And I love you, my particular storm. Together, we will overcome this shadow. The wound on his shoulder would heal with time, but the bond between them grew stronger and unbreakable, while Victor recovered from the wound on his shoulder. The love between him and Elena blossomed with an almost frightening intensity. The days were filled with lingering glances, discreet touches, and conversations that stretched into the early hours of the morning. The castle, once silent and cold, now echoed with soft laughter and passionate whispers. Elena spent long hours by Victor's bedside, reading to him or simply holding his hand. He, a man accustomed to solitude, discovered the pleasure of being cared for with such affection. Every gesture from her healed not only his body, but also old wounds in his soul. One night, when the full moon illuminated the room through the heavy curtains, Victor pulled Elena closer. Their lips met in a slow and deep kiss, filled with desire that had been held back for weeks. His hand slid down her back, bringing her against his chest. I never thought I could feel something so strong again, he confessed between kisses. You awakened feelings in me that I believed were dead long ago. Elena blushed, but did not look away. And you taught me that it is possible to love even when the world seems to be falling apart. With you, Victor, I feel safe and alive. The romance between them became increasingly passionate. However, danger gave no truce. Threatening letters continued to arrive, sent by Duke Armand. In one of them, he promised to burn the castle if Elena was not handed over. Victor, still with his shoulder bandaged, decided it was time to act. We can wait no longer. We must travel to the capital and present the evidence directly to the king. Only then will we have justice. Elena agreed. Although fear tightened her chest, they prepared the journey in secret. Simple clothes for disguise, documents hidden in false chests, and only a few trusted guards. With each day closer to departure, their love grew stronger. They knew they might not return alive. On the eve of the journey, Victor hugged her by the fireplace and whispered, "Whatever happens, know that my heart is yours. I love you, Elena, more than words can express." She responded with a kiss full of tears and hope. Fear and love walked side by side, inseparably intertwined. The journey began under a gray sky. Elena and Victor traveled disguised as merchants, accompanied by only 4 loyal guards. The road was dangerous, full of sharp turns and dense forests where ambushes were common. On the 3rd day, the worst happened. A group of mercenaries hired by Duke Armand attacked them fiercely in the narrow passage of a mountain. Shouts and the sound of clashing metal echoed through the valley. Victor fought with bravery, despite his still sensitive shoulder. His sword cut through the air with deadly precision. Elena, hidden behind a cart, watched everything with her heart in her throat. When one of the attackers approached her, Victor ran to her defense and received a deep blow to his side. "Victor!" Elena screamed in despair. Victor fell to his knees, bleeding profusely. The remaining guards managed to drive away the last attackers, but the damage was done. Victor was gravely wounded. They took refuge in a small abandoned cabin in the middle of the forest. Elena, with trembling hands covered in blood, tore her own skirts to make bandages. She cleaned the wound, applied herbs she knew, and made improvised dressings throughout the night. The following hours were agony. Victor burned with fever, delirious with pain. Elena did not leave his side for a single moment. She held his cold hand, moistened his forehead, and whispered words of love and encouragement. "Do not dare leave me now, Victor," she cried softly. "I love you too much. We have fought so hard to get here. You need to come back to me." In a moment of lucidity, Victor opened his eyes and touched her face with difficulty. "If I leave, know that you were the best thing that ever happened to me. You brought light to my darkness." Elena sobbed, kissing his hand. "You will not leave. I will not allow it. Our love is stronger than this wound." For 3 long days and nights, Elena fought tirelessly for his life. She barely slept, barely 8. Her dedication was absolute. On the 4th day, the fever finally broke. Victor opened his eyes more clearly and smiled weakly when he saw her. "You saved my life, my brave Elena." She laid her head on his chest, exhausted but deeply relieved. "No, we saved each other." The ordeal united them even more. Their love had been tested by fire and emerged stronger. After Victor's recovery, they continued the journey with even greater determination. Upon arriving at the capital, they presented themselves secretly before the king and his council. Elena, with a firm voice, despite her nervousness, exposed all of Duke Armand's crimes: the embezzlement of money, the forgeries, and the assassination attempts against her. Victor, still pale but imposing, delivered the documents and testimonies they had gathered. The king, impressed by the couple's courage, ordered an immediate investigation. The days that followed were filled with great tension. The scandal exploded at court. Duke Armand was publicly arrested amid great commotion. His lies were unmasked, one by one. Many nobles who had previously supported him now openly condemned him. Elena's reputation was fully restored. The king returned all rights to her father's inheritance and offered her royal protection in the palace garden under a clear blue sky. Victor knelt before Elena, even with his body still aching. Holding her hands, he declared with an emotional voice, "Elena, you faced fear, betrayal, and death by my side. You showed a courage few possess. Today, before God and men, I ask you, will you accept being my wife? Will you walk with me for the rest of our days?" Tears of pure happiness streamed down Elena's face. She knelt as well, bringing herself to the same level as him. "Yes, Victor, I accept with all my heart. You are my savior, my love, and my greatest companion. Together, we overcame the darkness." They sealed the commitment with a long and passionate kiss, while the birds sang around them. The entire court celebrated the union as a symbol of true love and justice achieved. Months later, the castle in the mountains came back to life. Elena and Victor celebrated a simple but deeply moving wedding, surrounded by loyal friends and faithful servants. Elena transformed part of the castle into a school for the children of the region, using her intelligence and kindness to teach. Victor, once a solitary and closed man, now smiled easily and actively participated in the new life they were building together. Their love had matured. It was no longer just passion and protection. It was respect, complicity, and a deep connection that had withstood the greatest trials. My dear reader, may this story remain engraved in your heart. The greatest storms of life do not come to destroy us, but to reveal the strength we carry within. True love is not born in the calm of peaceful days, but in the midst of chaos, when two souls decide to face the unknown together. Overcoming does not mean erasing the scars. It means carrying them with pride, knowing that each wound has made us stronger, wiser, and more capable of loving. Never fear loving again, even after life has betrayed you, because it is exactly in the darkest hours that destiny usually sends the light we need. If you were moved by this story of romance, suspense, and overcoming, subscribe to the channel now. Turn on the notification bell to receive all the new inspiring stories. Leave your like and share it with those who need strength and hope in their hearts.